Eli Weinstein, welcome to Seeing Other People.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here. Hopefully I don't get too seen. You don't see me that much. Just a little
Well,
bit.
I am very excited to have you here. I love conversations with therapists, and I specifically love talking to a male therapist because you can give so many different opinions that all of my female listeners need to hear. And some are opinions based on being a male, some are opinions based on your actual expertise and insights. So you are the full package that is needed here on Seeing Other People, and it's an honor to have you.
Well, thanks so much. When I was in grad school, I was like one of 30 people amongst 400 or 500 women, 30 men, and we were
Wow.
like unicorns of the idea of mental health. So it's nice to get, the opportunity to share insight and have a great conversation on relationships and anything and everything in between.
Yeah, I have to shout out your amazing podcast, The Dude Therapist, before we get in. And guys, Ellie is a therapist, author, relationship expert. Again, full package. What made you want to, explore this world of mental health and help people?
I always wanted to help people and be a doctor. I know I'm Jewish, classic, right? But I realize I'm really not good at school. Like, that's not my thing. And to be in school for like 12, 15 years, I would not have been the happiest person.
Mhm.
So I've always and have always been that guy at recess when I was a kid, or like that friend in every group who was the one who everyone talked about their relationships to. Um, I was the one who was the friend zoned with a lot of girls as the one who they talk to their relationship stuff about.
Mhm.
And I just love people. I love their stories. I love helping and love being real with people. And I found out about being a therapist from a great professor in college. And the rest is history. I love it. I love what I do. It's so much fun. It's so hard. It's so difficult, but it's a wonderful challenge.
Yeah. What do you think it was about you, like at such an early age, that you were giving off this? I don't want to say therapist vibe, but kind of you were. You were the friend group therapist.
I will say that the joke has been I have huge ears. So that was a big thing. I'm good at listening. I've grown into my ears over the
Wait,
years.
wait. I've never thought about this before, but I love that I used to get bullied for my ears being so big. And I still like
Always.
what if a video goes viral,
Uh
it's
huh.
not going viral because of the comments about the video. It's going viral because there are so many comments about my ears being so big. So I never made that connection of like maybe that's why I love to do what I love to do.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my god.
recently, just my daughter likes to hang out in my office because I have a lot of books that she cannot read because she's only 5.5. And she took a book out off the shelf and goes, "Daddy, I didn't know they wrote a book about you." And the cover was Will Smith.
Oh my
Because
god.
I'm like, why do you think that's me? He's like, you have the same ears.
Ah.
Um, yeah, so I think that was the joke going around for years that I have massive ears so I can hear better and listen.
Oh.
Um, why I like to listen and take in, and I'm very receptive to just
Yeah.
hearing people, very real and honest, and I really care, which can be very hard to care so much. It can be very hard to be an empath and feel those things. I have a lot of stories of me as a kid that I would cry when I saw either a blind person or a deaf person or something like that that was someone who was less than,
Yeah.
um, because they struggled and I couldn't help. That was just always who I have been. Um, why? I don't know. Hopefully, I help some people, but it is just something I've always done.
Why relationships?
I love love. I love because relationships also navigate everything in our life, whether
Mhm.
it's our love relationships, our intimate relationships, or our friendships, relationship with parents, with our kids. That is literally one of the most iconic things that runs through every human being on this planet. Yes, a lot of people have anxiety, a lot of people have depression, a lot of people have many different things, but relationships is something that's in our daily life, period. And it's something that I work with anything and everything, honestly. But relationships and parenting are the two things that speak to me in my personal life. And relationships is something that I just been drawn to. One, as a therapist, when you deal with couples, it makes it a little more interesting every single session, every day, because you
True.
don't know what's about to hit the fan. And so it's not like, oh my gosh, here we go again with the same problem, same week after week. But that's just more for my own purposes as a just being interested in my job. But on top of it, it's just something so key to every human being. And I love
Yeah.
that.
Why do you think it is that we're not really taught how to build strong relationships, build healthy relationships, communicate? Like, this is something that's always frustrated me. I feel like the most essential life skills that we need are the ones that we're not taught in school. And it frustrates me so much because we like who you choose to marry is like one of the most, if not the most important decision you'll ever make. You know, so many decisions about how you approach relationships change your life day after day after day. But so many of us, I mean, I have so many people listening right now who are in their 20s, in their 30s, they've never been in a relationship before. And so at some point, they're going to walk into their first relationship. And, you know, of course, every relationship with someone new is a new situation, but to not really have this baseline of like, okay, here's how to build a healthy, strong, respectful relationship is mind blowing to me that we don't
You're
learn it.
right. You're right. It really is crazy. I think it's just interesting. I don't think school has ever been the place to learn life skills. I don't think school was made for that. School was like, now I'm not here to get into if college is important. There are plenty of other people that yell about that. Thank you, Gary Vee, and all those other people. But in the end, it's about learning basic foundational knowledge so that you can be a functioning human being, hopefully,
Mhm.
to do math or whatever rights or whatever things. By
And
the
I
way,
still
I'm
can't
writing a
do
book right
math.
now. School didn't teach me how to do that, and I suck at math, and I'm doing okay. So I think there is a trend, and I've only seen this from my own kids and just talking with other parents and working in the world of relationships, of individual teachers taking on a style of teaching which
Mhm.
focuses on, let's say, from a young age, like kindergarten, first and second grade, third grade, that young age of how to communicate, how to be respectful, how to be kind, how to deal with conflict when you want a toy and someone else doesn't want to give it, right? Those real key things.
Mhm.
I think it's becoming a trend of individual teachers. I don't even know how, because schools are so focused on curriculum and this like statistical way of looking at scores, right?
Yeah.
Oh, our school's doing great because everyone scored in the 90s. You can't test emotional IQ. You can't test, you can a little bit, but you can't really test relationship skills. Oh, you didn't get into an argument today. You got an A plus, but like you could have just sat quiet in the corner. Like that's isolating,
Right.
right? So I don't think it's something testable, which is very hard for schools to get on board with.
Yeah.
But I think it's on us if you're an educator or a teacher on you to learn the skills and teach, and it's also on the adults in these kids' lives. And I think there is something that is good and bad about the reality we live today is that a lot of people are just getting their information from, let's say, Love is Blind and
Mhm.
Bachelor, Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise. I only know these things that my wife watches that I happen to also pay attention to when I'm in the room with her. Um, I don't admit that out loud. Um,
Uh-huh.
I don't watch it.
Sure.
I just happen to be just spending time with my wife.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Or Survivor or
Okay.
any of those shows, right?
Whatever you need to say to sleep at night.
I love you, Hannah Brown. But no, but in all seriousness, that people are getting their skills from there. They're learning relationship tips and skills from there, which is not healthy because that's a produced show
Right.
where they're doing things purposefully to get you to watch more. It's drama. So I think you're very right. And I think that's why a lot of these relationship books are doing so well because they really help people see problems and issues and positives that they can create. But I really think it's on us as other adults and friends in other people's lives. Just sit down and talk to them.
Yeah. Are there any reality dating shows that you think better represent real world dating and relationships?
Not reality shows, but there was that big one, the couples therapy,
Mm.
Dr. Orna,
Mhm.
I think her name is.
Mhm.
I think it just did a great job of seeing some of the things that therapists do, and some of the things they focus on and some of the issues that she brings up. Um, other than that, that
Yeah.
world. The reality TV show is not supposed to be learning.
Right.
It's supposed to be, that escape. fun, wacky, dramatic. Can you believe what just happened on last week's show? Or
Yeah.
as Bachelor World says, next week is going to be the craziest,
The
episode
most
we've ever had, the
dramatic.
most dramatic finale we've ever had. I
I
don't
don't
watch the
want my
show, I
dating life
promise.
and relationship to be dramatic.
So, and I think it's just something that you're right is a very big disservice, which is
Yeah.
why I love it so much. That's why I love
Yeah.
relationships so much, and it's such a key thing to our life.
Yeah. When it comes to people, really taking the initiative and reading self-help books, listening to podcasts, and obviously you're an author and you're currently writing a book and I am a podcast host, so I do believe that there is so much good from this. But do you think there's ever a point of like taking in too much information?
You're amazing at this. You're so asking such great questions already. I'm so excited.
That's my favorite compliment ever to receive. So thank you. I'll
If you
be on a
need,
high all week.
there you go. If you want a hype man and hire me, or just have me around, I will follow you until you're amazing. Don't worry about it.
Monday
Just
Night
text me.
Bachelor, come on over.
Just text me. I don't really watch, but I know everything. But I think that it's very overwhelming when you have millions of podcasts all saying they're all experts. And I happen to think, as someone who isn't a therapist, you do an unbelievable job talking about relationships. But
Thank
there are people out there that don't.
you. Mhm.
And they are just someone who wants to have a microphone and maybe get a sponsor or get famous or whatever that means. And they have really bad advice and experiences. And
Yeah.
I don't know their names. I'm not here to call people out. But there are plenty of male coaches out on social media that I cannot stand, that are just pushing such unhealthy rhetoric
Yep.
for men and then their relationships because they think they deserve a platform. So you have that problem. Number two, there's so much information. Which one do you choose? And that's the beauty of having so much information, is that you can find, let's say, go to the Gottman books for certain ways, or you want to go to Terry Real for his way, or you want to go wherever you want. There's so many beautiful books and information and accounts that have legitimate backing to what they're saying, and learn a lot. And then you can pick and choose from each one. But it's on us as viewers and listeners and readers to control how much we're taking in, and then pick which ones we want to actually focus on versus trusting everything, listening to everything, and then being so manipulated by all the information.
Yeah. I think it's really important to, learn first about the person or I don't want to say institution, but like the group that you're getting your information from. And first, decide, does this feel right? Does this feel like
Hmm.
me? There are so many people out there sharing so much noise, and maybe you and that person have so much in common that what they're saying and the stories they're telling and the advice they're giving feels right for you, but maybe the opposite is happening and it actually feels like it's completely against who you are at your core and it doesn't feel right. And of course sometimes you should push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit to see like maybe that is a change you need to make, but other times you you shouldn't be taking that person's advice.
Yeah, you really, as a rule of thumb, and maybe this is just my own opinion, if an account or a book is asking you to change the core of who you are because it's a problem when it's not, maybe you should put that book down or turn the
Mhm.
podcast off or unfollow that person. Because
Yeah.
most of our cores are not bad. Most people are not inherently terrible human beings. Not everyone's a narcissist. Not everyone has borderline personality disorder. Not everyone has
Mhm.
those really terrible, hurtful potential traits. So if you're really not doing anything that terrible, but you need some communication skills, or you need some help with how you handle your own stress that impacts your relationships, or whatever it might be, you're not a bad person that needs to like change your entire being. So anyone asks you to
Yeah.
like delete who you are and start anew, maybe you're being part of a cult, or maybe you're being tricked. So put it down.
Yeah,
Walk away.
absolutely. Okay. Speaking about, the core of who you are, there are a lot of women listening to this. Some have a lot of relationship experience, some have very little relationship experience. What are women getting wrong or missing when it comes to who men are and a man's mental health?
Yeah. So there's many ways I can go at this. So excuse my ADHD brain. I might have 2 points. I might have 17. We'll see where it goes.
Beautiful. Love.
So the first thing I'll say is that men are very soft. They are big teddy bears, most men. And a lot of men will put on a big show. A lot of men will be very bravado and very, pump their chest like a gorilla, be very loud. But in the end, they just want to be seen and respected. There was a research study done a couple of years ago in one of the Ivy League schools that I always forget which one it was at. And they asked men, thousands of men, what they needed in a relationship. And the number one thing was to be seen and respected. Women were to be loved. That was number one for women. What that means for women depends on the woman, right? To be loved could be, hugs and kisses. To be loved could be whatever you want it to be. For men, it's to be seen and respected. That means they want someone to see their inner self. They want someone to see all their efforts. They want someone to see how hard they're working and how much, effort they put in. And I've seen it happen on a small level of a husband complaining to me in a session saying, I cleaned the dishes and my wife didn't even notice. Why would I do it again? Right? Why would I even do it again? She didn't even say thank you. She wants me to keep going and do it? No. She doesn't see the efforts I make. And the classic response is, you only did it once. I've done 80 things.
Mhm.
You're right. But he just wants to be seen for his efforts, that he is loved and cared for, and that he is important and of value. And that's number one thing that a lot of women think is either weakness or softness or what's wrong with you? Just you did one thing, big whoop. It is a big whoop to them for
Mhm.
men. The other thing I would say is that a lot of men are very lonely. Even though they might have guy friends, I've always been jealous of women with their relationships. They're very deep, very real, very honest, and just very supportive. It's not very surface level like men, right? What's a stupid thing that, they come in, you're like, oh, do you see the game? It's very sports, very stupid, very, just very external.
Yeah.
And it's very important for men to have a tribe of, of men that really, really are there. Not every man has that. So it's about creating a space for a man to feel like he has that ability of vulnerability to be able to be seen on that deep level and not be made fun of, not be dismissed, not be laughed at for feeling less than, for feeling weak, for feeling small. All those very real feelings. Men feel very lonely in that sense. And I'll just start with those. There's so many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the difference between, like, male and female friendships, I see that all like, every single day played out in my marriage with, like, the conversations my friends and I are having and, the FaceTimes, the group chats, the 10-minute long voice notes we're
Just look at the
sending versus,
WhatsApp groups
like
of the difference. Just look at the different
Yeah.
WhatsApp groups and you'll see like the stupidity of fart videos and memes. And then you see like the real heart to heart conversations happening.
It's so wild. It really, really blows my mind. Like once I started to like really spend time with a man and get to know his friendships, I'm like, and like not to say his friendships are like less than or whatever, they're just so different.
Yeah,
Um, when it comes to being seen, because and I love and respect so much how you like cut through the bullshit and try and just like tell
that's just who
it
I
how it
am.
is. Yeah, I we need
I'm a
more of
no
that
BS person.
we need more of that in the world and especially in the dating world. And I think what ends up happening is like maybe there's a woman who is like seeing all these things and wants to compliment and thank and appreciate all of the things that a man is doing, wants to, express how much they want to spend time with them, but they feel like they can't because they feel like if they do all those things, they'll be seen as too much or they'll be seen as trying too hard or too aggressive. So,
Hmm.
what's the balance when it comes to like you're getting to know somebody or the early stages of a relationship where you do see and you do want to, you know, appreciate and express that appreciation, but you don't want to do it in a way that the I hate this phrase, but like that you're going to scare them away?
Yeah. First of all, I love that question. I think it's such a sad truth that people get scared away by kindness
Mhm.
and love and like thank yous and appreciation. I think in the beginning stages of dating, I don't think men want to be seen as much then, just like women don't want to be seen as much, right? You're trying to like protect yourself and not give everything away and be very particular about your vulnerability so you don't get hurt if it doesn't work out, right?
Mhm.
So you're trying to have that little dance in the beginning of dating where you're like, I'll give you a snippet, I'll just give you a little bit. The idea of when you start sharing that intimacy of appreciation and care is when you start getting deeper in the relationship, about 5 6 months 8 months, when it starts getting more like, oh, I want to be around this person more often. This is just a no BS answer. If someone runs away from that, good.
Let them.
Like,
Bye.
let them. Like, that should not be someone who you want to have around. If someone is so afraid of you going, I really appreciate you showing up for me when I had a hard day, or thanks so much for bringing flowers to me at my work, or I really love that date. You really listened to me when I said I love this thing and you remembered. And someone goes, nope, too much. You're crazy, and runs away. That's really not a stable, healthy, emotional person that you want. Like, you don't have to convince someone. You should not convince someone to stay, even especially when you're giving love. Like, that's, come on. That person
That
should be
phrase
like,
on repeat.
right? It just, that person should want to be there when you say thank you, not,
Mhm.
oh, you're suffocating me. Now, I'm not saying you should text them every 5 seconds, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's a lot for anyone, even in a marriage, even later on in life. But just saying I see you in whatever way you want to say it, whether it's through a kiss, whether it's through thinking of them with a small love note or something cute like that that you want to do in your relationship, and they run away, let them run away. They don't deserve that. And you don't deserve to be in that relationship where they're freaked out by you giving love or appreciation.
When should somebody, you know, decide between, or let me rephrase that. Like, if there are some early relationship problems or, someone's getting scared away, this is like way before engagement marriage. How should somebody evaluate if they should try and fight for it or if they should let it go?
Oh my gosh, you're so good. Okay. So the there's a difference between fighting for the relationship and fighting someone to be in the relationship.
Hmm.
So if you're trying to fight someone to stay in the relationship, right? What's the classic funny line from Grey's Anatomy, right?
Pick me,
Choose
choose me,
me,
love me.
right? Right, right? Love me, right? If you're consistently doing that every day, every week, and they keep giving you reasons why they are not choosing you, we're not talking about that kind of relationship. That's a problem. You should not, again, have to convince someone to want to be with you. But if there's struggles in the relationship of how they communicate, how they show up for you, respect, trust, all those kind of classic struggles, that's fighting for the relationship, not fighting with the person to be there. So you should do that as early as and as often as you can, because those things are very valuable for you to be able to have a healthy relationship. Doesn't mean you have to go to the couples therapy. No, doesn't mean you have to go to couples therapy to work on those things. But you should definitely bring them up of concerns or worries, or, and I work with clients, specifically a lot of men, on how to phrase things because they're worried that they're not going to say it right for women to hear it. And some of the ways you're saying it can be, this not really worries me, because that always freaks someone out. And don't say I need to talk to you. That also
Oh
freaks
my
people out,
God.
right? That text is the worst text you ever get. I
Oh,
remember my high school relationships. I need to talk to you. That's it. It's over. She's breaking up with me, right?
even when friends text me that, I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't say that.
It's like,
You just
are you
can't.
ending it?
Yeah.
But it's more of, there's something that's in the back of my mind that I'm just concerned about, and I trust you, and I want to talk it out with you
Mhm.
because we're in this together. So I want you to know this. Now you can take that however you want. You can use your own words and figure it out, but that's the vibe that you're trying to create is, we're in this together. We're going through this. It doesn't mean that we're committed and we're doing this long term yet, but you're in my life. You've met my friends, you've met this, we've dated, we've slept together, we've done all these things. It's important that you know how I feel.
Mhm.
And I want you to know that and let you in to where I'm at. That's the goal. And if they're going to be like, this is too much for me, why is it so much for you? I'm trying to let you in and talk to you about something that worries me or concerns me, or I'm just not sure about because of a past relationship or my family growing up or whatever it might be that causes you to be concerned or worried about it. It's okay to share it. It's just how you phrase it and set the tone of the conversation. I would love to talk to you about this because we're in this together. However you want to say it, can we please talk? I really trust you and respect your opinion about it. It's not you suck, you're terrible, you're the worst. Change. That's not the vibe, and that shouldn't be the vibe.
If the person on the receiving end of this information, this challenge that's being brought to their attention, if they hear the person who's sharing it out and they say, like, I need time to think about this, like, I want to process this, what advice do you have for the person who just shared this information and really just wants to talk about it in that moment?
So I'm going to use a quote from just the title of Mel Robbins. Let them. Right. I didn't read the book yet. I would love to, but it's a very hard thing when you open your heart and someone goes, I need a little bit to think about it. Right. The biggest thing that people usually feel is abandonment, right? Or you're in the middle of an argument and you drop the mic on a real hard truth and someone walks away. It's okay to walk away. It's not okay to storm away. It's not okay to like slam the door, run away and leave the house. But it's okay to say I like here's the way I usually phrase it. It's you need to have like a validation sandwich, okay? So validation does not mean you agree with what the person says. You just see what they're saying is important. That's what validation means. So it's thanks so much for sharing that with me. That meant a lot to me that you opened up like that. So you're saying I love and I care what you just said. I need about 15, 20 minutes to think about it. Is that okay? Right. And if the other person goes, no, why are we not talking about this now? It's because I need to think about it. And if I don't want to respond now, because it's not going to be a good response or it's not going to be healthy. Same thing with, by the way, with anger, right? Well, I remember when I got married, my grandmother, who's still alive, 97-year-old, wonderful woman, she said, don't go to bed angry.
I was
My
just
grand,
about to
right?
ask, are you team go to
Omi,
bed
my,
angry or don't
my,
go to bed angry?
my grandmother, we call her Omi. Omi, you're very wrong. She's very wrong because it's very healthy to go to bed angry. Because if you're very angry and you start talking, your brain is not working the way it needs to respond kindly, softly, respectfully. Your brain's not working even for you to think well to respond. So it doesn't mean that it's fun to go to bed angry, but sometimes you need to go to bed angry so that in the morning when you're calm, recovered, you can then start fresh in an easier, kinder, calmer way. Same thing with walking away. If you get into a hard conversation, someone divulges their heart and has a hard thing they just shared, you might need time to just think about it. They want to know because they just shared. That's okay. I care about you. Thank you so much for sharing with me. I really appreciate you being so honest and real. I need 15, 20 minutes. Give a time limit to yourself. Because if you just say, I need time to think, and then you leave the conversation, that's like anxiety inducing for most human beings. You don't have to have any attachment style for this. You just get anxious that you just ended the conversation and you're sitting there for 3 days. And you're like, what are we doing now? That would
Is it
freak
3
anyone out,
minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3
right?
months?
It freaks someone out, right? And you never deal with
Totally.
it. No, it's I need 15, 20 minutes or I need a day. I'll tell you a story that happened to my wife and I when we were dating. This is the reason I knew I wanted to marry her. We were dating and she was very involved in a special needs camp. It was very key to her maturity and growth. She loved it. I didn't know if I wanted to be involved in things like that. I never involved myself in that. It freaked me out a little bit. And so she said to me, she goes, Ellie, this is something key in my life. I'm not saying that I want to do this every day. I'm not saying that I'm ever going to work in a camp like this. But if our kids want to get involved in the future, and there's an organization out there that they want to get involved and they want to have like a hangout in the house or a weekend retreat at our house, I want to know that you're going to be open and understanding that this is important to me. And I want my kids to have their minds open to different people. And I didn't know how to handle it. And she goes, "Well, I'm going to give you a day to think about it. Just think about it. And if you can't meet me at this is very important to me. We have to have a real conversation about our future." Right? I freaked out that I was going to lose this person. That meant to me that this person was really important to my life.
Mhm.
And it was just a very structured, think about this for a day. Let's talk. Let's pick it up tomorrow because I know you need time to process it. And I just said something hard to tell someone, and I need time to just calm down and cool off. Let's pick up tomorrow. Let's make a time. Let's put a meeting on the calendar. Right? It's okay to make it very sterile, like a meeting. Let's talk 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Can't wait to speak to you about this.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think a
and
big
then it's done.
I think a big thing there too, and in most of these situations, is she was sharing that with you because she knew she had to in order to get from where you were now to your potential future together. And
It's for
so,
growth.
in any of these big conversations, whether it's on date 5 or 5 months in or 5 years in, the person is bringing this up because it really matters to them, and
Hmm.
they're probably just as afraid as you are about the
Yeah.
answer. Like, you're both freaking out because you both want it to work.
So make it sterile, structure it.
Yeah.
Right? Just be like, okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I really appreciate you listening to me if you're the one sharing. And the one who is listening, thank you so much for sharing that with me. I really appreciate you opening up to me. That means a lot to me.
Yeah.
It just creates a lot of softness and kindness to a hard thing that both of you are going through.
Yeah. How did you and your wife meet?
We met through an organization we worked at called NCSY. It's like a Jewish youth organization. And we were supposed to be in a summer camp together, and it got canceled. And I knew I wanted to date her. I met her and I'm like, I got to date this girl. She's amazing.
How old were
And
you?
21, 22.
Okay.
And she said no to me like 3 times. I got this friend to ask. I got that friend to ask. She thought I was like, there's a whole long story. I walked away in the middle of a conversation because I have ADHD. I thought she was done talking. And I'm like, oh, look, a squirrel. And she was like, this big shot thinks that he thinks he's so cool. He walked away. And eventually she said yes because one of my close friends asked her again. Happened to be my birthday. She's like, "Oh, okay. I'll just give him a pity date because it's his birthday."
Can't let
And
him down on his birthday.
yeah, married for almost 10 years this summer and have 2 beautiful kids.
Wow. I
I
love
trapped her. It's okay. I trapped her.
that.
I
Sometimes
won.
you gotta try, and try again.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. I have a few listener questions I would love to get your input on.
Ooh, I'm excited.
This first one is interesting, and I'm curious as you see both individuals and couples, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm curious if you see this often. So this says, I've been in therapy for about a year and I feel like I've grown so much in terms of self awareness, communication, and my emotional regulation. The challenge is my partner of 2 years isn't as into self reflection or personal growth as I am. I don't want to feel like I'm leaving him behind, but sometimes I feel like I'm outgrowing him emotionally. How can I continue growing as a person while still maintaining a strong and fulfilling relationship? And how do I encourage him to engage in self growth without making him feel judged or pressured?
I love that question. I get that all the time. So I see it happen with couples therapy where usually the woman is like, for heterosexual couples, like, come on. And the husband's like, oh, I don't want to be here. I hate therapy. I hate. So, few things. Number one, it's wonderful that you're growing. You don't have to be paralleled in your growth to have a successful relationship. You don't have to be equal footing on where you are in your emotional intelligence, your mental health, your mental wellness to have a beautiful relationship. He can be where he's at and you can be where you're at and still respect and love where he's at, and he should respect and love where you're at. We don't want to have like a preachy relationship, right? I see this happen, by the way, the opposite direction with men, where they go on these like ayahuasca journeys or one of these like, sauna things or Joe Rogan, Andrew Huberman, diet or whatever it is. And they preach to every single person they can, especially their inner circle, especially their wives. It's tiring. You don't want to be preached to. You feel like you're stupid or an idiot or that what you're doing is wrong. So it's if you're not preaching and you just want them to level up because it would mean a lot to you, or it would be really wonderful to see how the relationship excels even more, you can always talk to him about what you've learned
Mhm.
from your perspective and ask him what he thinks about it. Right? You're putting the ball in his court instead of saying, "Hey, you should do this," or "This is really important," or "This skill is amazing. Do it." It's more of, "Hey, I talked to my therapist today. Or I read this book and had this really interesting point. I want to share with you because I'd love to hear your thought because I respect your opinion.
Mhm.
Another thing I always say is if you find a classic men's podcast or book that does talk to someone who has good insights, share it with them. Like, I'm not a big proponent of Joe Rogan just because it's 4 hours long and who has time for that. But if you see Joe Rogan interview someone and that speaks to your husband, send it to him. If there's a classic male dude, but there's also wonderful books that have male therapists in it, like John Kim, who's the angry therapist. You have Lewis Howes doing unbelievable work. I'm not going to get into the whole drama with this person, but Justin Baldoni with Man Enough has an unbelievable podcast that shows vulnerability of man and men in their lowest and their highest as man. He has a book, right? It's okay to share things. He doesn't have to want to listen to it. It's okay to share it. And it doesn't mean that your relationship is bad just because you have done unbelievable growth and he hasn't gotten there yet. You don't have to be parallel to have a beautiful relationship.
Yeah. And I like that you didn't once bring up like y that this they like, you don't need to push them in to go to therapy too, if
You do
they
not.
don't want to. Like, there are so many
It doesn't
other
help.
ways to
No,
approach
no,
this.
it
Yeah.
doesn't help. If someone feels forced in therapy, and I've seen this with kids, with their parents, and I've seen it with men, statistically, it will not work because they are not open to listening. They find it stupid, they find it annoying for whatever reason. That's okay. But
Mhm.
also, you can, and you should not be your person's therapist, but you can also let them into ideas that you have learned and let them think about it. Let them percolate on that
Yeah.
idea and process it. Give them time to see how they feel and how they take that information.
Yeah. I really like the idea of finding something that, like, both speaks to that growth aspect, but also will interest them. So, like, what comes to mind for me is if I were in this situation, I really like Jay Shetty. And maybe
Mm,
if Jay Shetty were to have interviewed an athlete or someone on one of Jake's favorite teams, like, that could be something that I could send him
yeah, for
to,
sure.
yeah. So you gotta, like, think about, like, what would excite that person, and you don't even have to, like, dress it up as, like, "Oh, like, this is an awesome interview." You could just say, like, "I love Jay Shetty's podcast, and I saw he interviewed this person."
I think you'd like it.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, just a plug. First of all, Jay Shetty is unbelievable, but Benny Blanco's episode with
I need
Selena
to
Gomez,
listen.
I have never heard a man have such beautiful insight into his woman who is like this celebrity,
Yeah.
thing. The way he speaks about love and relationships, goosebumps. He's just so emotionally in tune to Selena Gomez and himself. Was beautiful.
My
Like
friend
you
and I
didn't
were
need, by the way, you didn't
talking.
even need Jay Shetty there, by the way. Benny
Wow.
Blanco could have done it himself. It
My
was unbelievable.
my friend and I were talking about him the other day. We both, like, heard him say, like, speak or post something and about Benny, and we were like, it's so surprising because you see him and you wouldn't think he's this, like, super emotionally intelligent person,
So
but
emotionally.
he's so successful in what he does, and if you think about it, like, what he does is he, like, processes and turns someone else's emotions into art.
Yeah.
So, he's had so much experience navigating really deep emotions of so many different types of people, and it's really cool to see how that's also, like, impacted him as a person.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
awesome.
one more question. How do I approach dating as a nearly 30-year-old virgin? I wasn't waiting for love or due to religious reasons. It just didn't happen. I was never really interested in sex unless I saw a potential for a long term relationship and truly trusted the person. On top of that, I've struggled with anxiety on and off throughout my 20s and often feel like I wouldn't be a good partner to the kind of person I want to date. Now I feel more ready, but I worry about how potential partners will react if and when I bring it up. Any advice?
So to me, being a virgin does not mean anything's wrong with you. And I think it's a really unhealthy narrative and rhetoric in the world today, whether it's body count conversations or things like that, that because you've had sex a certain amount of times, you are now a special expert. Every single relationship sexually is going to be different. The connection you have with X to Y person, sex is going to be different and should be. It should not be that you have the same move or same style or same thing with every person you're with. So the fact that you haven't had sex yet is totally fine. The only struggle is how that person and the conversations around sex is done so that it's respectful and kind and caring and compassionate to your experience of maybe not knowing what you like and don't like. But that's every relationship should have conversations like that because it's a new experience. Do you like this position, that position? Toys, no toys, kink, no kink, whatever it might be, those experiences are new to you and that person. So it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be anxious. It's okay to be worried about it. It's a healthy worry. So embrace the healthy worry, and the right person, which I hate to say because everyone goes, oh, the right person, but the right person will be kind and soft to that experience and love you and care about you because of who you are, not how many sexual partners you've had or haven't. And if anyone's going to make you feel bad about that, they're stupid and idiots because who cares how much sex you've had when it comes to loving and caring about another person? Sex is a part of that experience, but you can have the most respectful, kind, loving relationship, and sex is not even on the table yet. And that person you want to be with, and then sex just makes it even more amazing with that person.
Mhm.
So find the right person, tell them in the right time that you feel you are comfortable with to share, not because they are demanding it. And you don't have to give up or do anything with a person that you don't want to. You are in control of that narrative and that experience. So embrace it, love yourself because you know why you did it, and the right person will love you too.
And anyone who has a problem with it, it's better that they're showing that now.
Yeah.
It's not the type of person you wanna be with.
Yeah. Sex is great, but it's not the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, final question for you, and this is how we close every episode of Seeing Other People. What is the best piece of dating or relationship advice that you have ever received or have to give?
There's this big narrative that people say that you have to love yourself first before you get into a relationship. I think you have to know yourself first before you get into a relationship. You don't have to love yourself the most or have everything figured out about you to be your best self in the relationship because you're going to grow because the relationship's going to grow. So give yourself that grace to know, I know the parts of me that matter. I know what I bring to the table and I'm aware of it. And if I love myself or not today, that's okay. But someone else loves me, and you're allowed to be loved by another person just because you don't love yourself. It's okay. Let yourself be loved, even though you might not be the biggest fan of yourself. Someone else is saying you're amazing. Let them.
Mhm.
Let them love you, and hopefully the love will come. And I have so many other ones, but
No, I love that. It's so interesting because that comes up in many conversations that I have, and everyone is so opinionated. And I've heard like everything from like across the board. And I think your thoughts about it are exactly aligned with mine. Like I always say, like loving yourself is a lifelong battle. And you might love yourself one day and hate yourself the next day. But the way I phrase it is you need to like respect yourself in
yeah,
order to be respected by someone else.
yeah, I
But
love
no, I
that.
think that's beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. This has been so special and truly a pleasure and an honor. Where can people find you? Where can they listen to your podcast? All that.
Yeah, so my podcast is called The Dude Therapist because I'm a dude who's a therapist. It's for anyone and everyone.
Hell yeah, you are.
It's on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you want to get um, any podcast. I have a website, LCweinsteinLCSW.com. I have a book coming out in January
Woo!
about relationships and how to keep your relationship healthy, safe, and thriving when
Love.
you're either about to have kids, planning to have kids, or in that struggle and chaos of having kids. And the title's not official yet, but from I do to we do is what the title is.
Ooh, wait, I love that.
Thank you, ChatGPT, in 8 months of back and forth with the publishing
Yeah,
company. We did it. And it's super exciting and hopefully does really great. And if you want on Instagram at Eli Weinstein underscore LCSW, ask me anything and everything. And hope to see everyone around on those platforms.
you are the best. I'll have all that linked in the show notes, and of course, when the book comes out, I will share it everywhere. We'll have to get you back.
Well, you can have me on tomorrow whenever you want. And I guess I also have to send you a copy.
I would love that. You are incredible. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.